The silence between stars was never truly silent, not to the trained ear. Captain Alara Miles sat forward in the command chair of the Phantom Edge, her gaze fixed on a pulsing anomaly on the spectral array. The stealth cruiser hummed with barely contained potential, cloaked and adrift near the gravitational fringe of an abandoned trade corridor in the Zenthri expanse. "Captain, we're picking up a tight beam signal. Encrypted." Buried under 3 layers of spectral noise, Lieutenant Voss murmured, fingers dancing across the console. He was lean, methodical, a sensor tech with a hacker's instincts. "Origin?" Alara asked, already knowing the answer. Nothing good ever came from the Zenthri expanse. "Unknown." "Triangulating. It's not local. Signal looks like it's being bounced off Blacksite. Council-grade routing." Alara's eyes narrowed. Galactic Council tech was like catching ghosts with a net, built to vanish, to hide. If Voss had picked this up, it wasn't a mistake. It was a crack in the wall. "Patch it through." The bridge lights dimmed slightly as the signal fed into the speakers. Static. Then a voice, grating, alien, almost avian. "Initiate Protocol Zeta. Humanity must not be allowed to rise." Then nothing. The loop restarted. Alara stood slowly, the words coiling through her chest like a frozen wire. The air was thinner all of a sudden. She looked around the bridge. Her crew, 6 elite operatives handpicked for intelligence missions, stared back, silent, waiting. "Replay it. Protocol Zeta. Humanity must not." She cut it off. "Save and secure it. Encrypt under my key only. Not a word of this gets out." Voss hesitated. "Ma'am, this is a council kill order." Alara nodded. "I know what it is." She tapped her neural link, opening a silent command chain. Orders flowed. Engines stayed cold. Weapons stayed dark. But the Phantom Edge turned, slowly aligning itself with coordinates that had no business existing in human databases. "Set course for Veltron Prime," she said. Her XO, Commander Rios, glanced up sharply. "That place is a myth." "Not anymore." 30 minutes later, in the dimly lit tactical chamber beneath the bridge, Alara traced her gloved fingers over a holomap of Veltron Prime. It shimmered faintly, an ancient artificial moon constructed before humanity had discovered fire, said to be the true seat of power in the galaxy. No one was allowed near it. No one even admitted it existed. "Why now?" Rios asked. He was broad-shouldered, pragmatic, a soldier who didn't like ghosts. Alara tapped the map again. "That message wasn't meant for us. Someone screwed up. Or someone wanted us to hear it." Rios crossed his arms. "Council doctrine has always treated us like a curiosity. But this extermination..." She leaned in. "That's what worries me. We're not a curiosity anymore." Rios was silent for a long moment. "Then, you realize this could be a trap." "It probably is. And you're going anyway." She met his eyes. "If the Council's planning to erase Earth like a bad memory, I'm not going to wait and see how they do it." By the time Phantom Edge reached near orbit of Veltron Prime, the crew had already gone dark. No transmissions. No active scans. Running blind and quiet. The moon rotated slowly beneath them, black and silver, lit from within by faint pulses of violet light. No beacons. No ports. No invitation. Alara stood before the viewport, jaw tight. "You ever seen anything like it?" she asked Voss. "Looks like a tumor carved by a god," he muttered. A chime echoed through the command deck. Rios appeared beside her. "We're getting a ping from the surface. Narrow beam. One word. Welcome. Prepare a stealth drone." "I want an eye inside," she ordered. Minutes later, the drone launched, no larger than a pack of cards, cloaked and silent. It dipped beneath the moon's surface layer through what looked like a fissure but blinked open like an eye as the drone approached. Inside, they saw wonders and horrors. Living metal-formed corridors. Lightless voids swallowed entire hallways. Symbols danced across the walls in languages that predated Earth's atmosphere. The Council hadn't just built Veltron Prime. They had made it alive. The drone floated into a vast chamber. At its center hovered a construct, a crystalline obelisk pulsing with data. Around it, alien figures moved, some familiar species, others unknown, tall, translucent, serpentine, feathered. And in the middle of it all, a throne-like seat faced away from the drone. "Zoom in," Elara said. The drone edged forward. The figure turned. A Cortal, one of the oldest known species in the galaxy. Its beak was etched with ceremonial grooves, feathers streaked with dark crimson. Arch-Arbiter Threx Vaughn, the leader of the Galactic Council. He spoke, unaware of the human eyes watching through the drone's lens. The virus of human unpredictability must be purged before it spreads beyond control. Protocol Zeta must proceed. No exceptions. No mercy. Elara clenched her fists. Cut the feed. Bring the drone back, she said coldly. She turned to Rios. Prep for infiltration. We're going in. Rios blinked. You want to land? On a council world. No. I want to break in. She met his stare with steel in her eyes. They've just declared war. The least we can do is attend their little meeting. As the Phantom Edge prepared to dive into the shadows of the most dangerous moon in the galaxy, Elara sat alone for a moment in her quarters. The message looped again in her implant. Protocol Zeta. Extermination. She pulled up an old photo, her younger brother, laughing in a gravity gym back on Luna. Earth's pale blue light in the background. That was why this mattered. That was why she wouldn't stop. She stood, straightened her uniform, and tapped into the ship-wide channel. This is Captain Miles. We're breaching Veltron Prime. We don't know what we'll find, but we do know this: Earth is marked. Our people are not disposable. We go quiet. We go smart. And if it comes to it, we go loud. A quiet affirmation echoed from every deck. The silence between stars had spoken. Now it was humanity's turn to answer. Veltron Prime loomed ahead like a celestial omen. The Phantom Edge slipped beneath its perimeter defenses unnoticed, cloaked in silence and quantum shadows. From orbit, the artificial moon looked like a jagged sculpture carved from void stone and obsidian, stitched with living veins of bioluminescent circuitry. Nothing about it was natural. This was a construct of intention, power, and paranoia. Entry vector confirmed. Target Fisher approaching, Voss announced quietly. The bridge crew moved with the focus of surgeons. There was no room for error here. Inside the Fisher, walls rippled as though alive. The Phantom Edge threaded through on impulse thrusters only, every system muffled to avoid detection. "This place breathes," said Rios from beside Elara, his voice low. "It's watching us," she replied. They docked the cruiser within what passed for a hangar. No clamps, no docking arms, just a membrane of dense organic material that flexed around the hull like a heartbeat. It held them in place as if the moon had inhaled. "Pressure equalized," Voss confirmed. "Air's breathable, but I wouldn't trust it." "Suit up," Elara ordered. "No one touches anything without my say." Minutes later, the infiltration team moved through the ship's forward lock. Elara led, her black tactical suit marked only by a slim command stripe on her shoulder. No insignia. No flags. In this place, Earth's politics meant nothing. The corridor beyond was silent, its walls smooth and pulsing faintly with inner light. Patterns moved just beneath the surface. Circuitry or something older. Elara activated her neural uplink. The visual overlay projected a faint map, extrapolated from the drone's earlier run. The path to the central core spiraled like a labyrinth, shifting with every scan. "This isn't architecture," she muttered. "It's a neural net." A door slid open ahead without prompting. The room beyond was circular, rimmed with statues, not carved but grown. Each was a different species, preserved in expressionless poses, eyes blank. "Council Memorial Chamber?" Rios guessed. "Warning chamber," she said. "This is what happens to those who get too close." They moved quickly. No alarms. No resistance. But the sense of being observed thickened with every step. Then came the bridge. If such a word could be used for a control room grown from logic crystal and memory fiber. At its heart stood the obelisk, a towering, translucent shard that throbbed with information streams. The Council's core archive. If the truth existed anywhere, it was here. Voss knelt by the obelisk's base, tools unfolding from his suit's gauntlet. Can you access it? Alara asked. It's not encrypted like we understand, he replied. It's reactive. It learns. Might be sentient. Then knock nicely. He reached out. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, the room changed. The lights dimmed. The air buzzed. And a voice echoed through every wall. Identity, unknown. Origin, human. Query, purpose. Voss flinched, but Alara stepped forward. Access request, she said clearly. Captain Alara Miles. United Terran Command. Mission. Investigate Council hostile actions toward humanity. A pause. Then. Access denied. Protocol Zeta active. Humanity. Unauthorized entity. Termination in progress. A burst of static flared, and a cascade of images flooded the obelisk's surface. Map. Genetic sequences. Council meeting logs. Her face marked red in alien script. Earth outlined with targeting parameters. Thousands of drone signatures. Deployment paths. And a timer, 4 cycles. Barely a month by human reckoning. This is a kill order, Alara breathed. Rios turned to her, jaw tight. What do we do? Copy everything you can. We're leaving. No time, Voss snapped. The system's locking down. The obelisk pulsed again, this time brighter. The chamber shook. Movement on sensors, said Rios. We've got inbound. Seal the entrance, Alara ordered, leveling her pulse rifle. But the door didn't close. It opened. A figure entered. Not Cortel. Not any species they recognized. It was tall, skeletal, draped in a shifting cloak of dark matter threads. Its face was a mirror, literally, reflecting their own faces back at them. Who the hell are you? Rios demanded, gun raised. I am Delos, former architect of the Council's cognitive archive, the being said. Its voice layered, half whisper, half machine. Former? Alara asked, not lowering her weapon. I was removed for dissent. I warned them. Contain knowledge, and it turns into fear. Fear turns into genocide. You know about Zeta, she said. Delos tilted its head. I wrote it. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. Voss froze mid-data stream. You wrote the protocol that will wipe out Earth? Alara asked. I wrote the failsafe. I did not authorize its use, Delos said. They were never meant to activate it. Not unless humanity became the singularity. They believe that moment is near. They're wrong. They're afraid, Delos replied. Alara stepped forward. Then help us stop it. Silence. The obelisk flickered. I can give you a cipher, Delos said. One that opens the deep layers. Meeting records. Their full intent. Proof. But once you take it, there is no going back. The Council will hunt you. Every allied race will see you as a rogue. A destabilizer. Alara nodded. They already do. Delos reached into the obelisk. The surface rippled. A data node, glowing and sharp like a shard of diamond, detached and floated into Alara's palm. You have what you came for, Delos said. Now run. Not yet. Delos turned. I want to broadcast this. Not just to Earth. To everyone. Delos paused. Then you may start a war you cannot win. We're already in one, she said. You just gave us our first weapon. She turned to her team. Fall back to the ship. Secure the payload. Prep jump coordinates. We're getting this home. As they moved out, the chamber began to shift, walls melting into new paths behind them. The station was sealing itself off. Alara took one last look at Delos, still standing before the obelisk. Why help us? For the same reason I joined the Council, it said. Because truth is the only thing stronger than fear. And then it vanished. Back aboard the Phantom Edge, Engines came online in a silent roar. The ship peeled away from Veltrin Prime's surface just as the fissure began to close like a wound healing. Alarms pinged across the board, pursuit drones rising from the moon's crust. Jump drive charged in 30 seconds, Voss said. Not soon enough, Rios muttered. Elara watched the moon shrink in the viewport. We're not done, she said quietly. We're just getting started. The Phantom Edge breached normal space in the shadow of Epsilon Eridani's gas giant, its hull bleeding off the last threads of quantum turbulence. The crew hadn't spoken much since escaping Veltrin Prime. Every face was drawn tight with the weight of what they carried. The Shard, Delos cipher, rested in a cryolocked case on the war table in the operations bay. It looked unimpressive, just a sliver of translucent crystal, about the length of a finger. But it pulsed faintly, as if aware it had been removed from its hive. Elara stood at the head of the table. Her eyes were hollow, focused. A different kind of commander now. Status, she said. Voss tapped through hollow interfaces, the blue light cutting across his cheekbones. Encrypted storage secure. No tampering. The data's alive, adaptive. We've isolated it in a sandbox. Bare minimum systems. It's talking to itself. Talking. Rewriting. Consolidating logs. Translation layers are shifting. It's prepping to be understood. Like it wants to be read, Rios murmured, pacing nearby. Elara turned to their comms specialist, Lieutenant Naira Kale. How long to set up a wideband transmission? Naira blinked, hesitated. You're serious? You want to broadcast this? To everyone. Not just Earth. That'll flag every surveillance net from here to the outer spiral. Council agents, allied spooks, merc networks. Once we go wideband, we're lit up like a flare. Elara nodded. Then let's burn. Naira stared a moment longer, then nodded and went to work. Rios approached, voice low. You sure about this? This isn't just poking the bear, it's stabbing it in the eye. They called us a threat, Elara said. They started this. Now we show the galaxy the truth. Rios watched her for a second, then grunted. Hell of a way to announce humanity's here to stay. Minutes later, the ops bay transformed into a transmission suite. Panels retracted, antennas deployed. The shard was placed on a projection core, and the cipher began to unfold. Lines of code morphed into language. Dozens of dialects streamed across the holodisplay. Council languages, galactic trade tongues, even Terran standard. It wasn't just data. It was a story. A warning. A confession. Elara stood before the live mic, staring at her reflection in the dark glass of the viewport. Then the countdown began. 5 seconds. 4. She didn't write a speech. There wasn't time for speeches. 3. 2. She took a breath. 1. This is Captain Elara Miles, United Terran Command. If you're receiving this, then your species is under the same illusion as mine, that the Galactic Council is a peacekeeping alliance. It is not. Behind her, the holoscreens lit up with footage, council meetings hidden from public records, genetic analysis of humanity flagged under uncontainable deviation, planetary readiness logs, doomsday triggers. They've decided humanity is too unpredictable, too inventive, too dangerous, and they've activated Protocol Zeta, a silent extermination directive. Earth has less than 30 cycles before they launch. No warning, no declaration, just erasure. Faces appeared, the Council's inner circle, timetables, drone fleets. We found this evidence buried in their deepest archive. A former architect risked everything to give us the truth. Now we're giving it to all of you. The footage shifted. Alien delegates arguing, logs detailing debates on humanity's fate, their fear, their envy. If they'll do this to us, they'll do it to others. Maybe they already have. Ask yourselves, what else have they erased? The screen paused on a council sigil, cracked down the middle. You deserve the truth. We won't go quietly. Neither should you. The screen went black. Transmission complete. The silence afterward was palpable. No alarms, no explosions. Just the weight of what had been unleashed. Voss was the first to speak. It's out. Galactic net relays confirm bounce. There's no pulling it back now. Good, Alara said. Then the storm hit. Every comm relay lit up. Pings from unaligned colonies, smugglers, rogue AIs, even a few member worlds, some in support, others furious. One message came on an encrypted loop in a council-grade cipher. Naira patched it through. The screen lit up with the sharp, angular face of High Chancellor Zell, a Quartel elder, cold and reptilian. His eyes glowed amber. Captain Miles, you have committed an act of galactic sedition. You have violated containment protocol, disrupted council stability, and broadcast classified intelligence to hostile parties. You will surrender the shard and all related assets, or face annihilation. Alara smiled grimly. So you are watching. This is not a negotiation. You don't get to dictate the terms anymore. Then let your species suffer the consequences. The transmission cut. Rios exhaled slowly. Well, that went well. Alara turned from the screen. Prep for maneuvering. They won't wait long. Outside, the stars looked the same. But the galaxy had changed. They'd torn off the mask. Now came the reckoning. Back on the ops deck, Voss ran a trace on the shard. It's still active, he said. Layer 2 just decrypted. What's in it? He turned the display. Council bioscans. Species-wide behavior models. Weaponization probabilities. Earth wasn't just listed as a threat, it was ranked top tier. Above the Krondol warbreeders. Above the Nihil constructs. At the very bottom of the file. Recommendation: total annihilation. No contact. Alara stared at the text. They never wanted peace. No, Voss said quietly. They wanted control. And now they had neither. The Phantom Edge changed course, breaking orbit and vanishing into deep space. The war hadn't begun. It had simply come out of hiding. The Phantom Edge glided into the Luraxis Drift, a lawless sector of derelict stations and forgotten wars. It was the last place the Council would expect a Terran warship to hide, partly because even pirates feared what lurked there. Gravity ghosts, sensor echoes, dead hulls still whispering automated distress codes from centuries ago. Alara stood in the observation blister, watching the drift's maze of shattered ships slide past, their broken spines lit by the faint shimmer of plasma leaks and distant stars. Anything from Earth? She asked without turning. Naira's voice buzzed through her earpiece. Encrypted response from UTC Central just came through. Delayed due to packet jamming. They got the broadcast. Alara exhaled, tension easing only slightly. And President Harrow wants confirmation. Proof the Council initiated Zeta Protocol. Otherwise, he won't mobilize. Of course he won't, Rios said, stepping into the blister beside her. Still thinks diplomacy can fix everything. We just lit the match, and he wants a permission slip. Alara turned, her voice low. He'll come around. Or he won't matter. Rios studied her a moment. You've changed. She didn't respond. The data shard had decrypted its third layer. Voss decoded it late into the ship's false night cycle. What he found changed the scope of their mission. It wasn't just humanity marked for eradication. 27 other species were listed under Zeta contingency. Civilizations that had grown too adaptive, too independently progressive. Some were already extinct, their records sanitized. Others still thrived, but only because they didn't yet know what hunted them. We're not just fighting for Earth, Voss said as he addressed the bridge. We're fighting for every species they've decided is inconvenient. Alara nodded. Then we tell them. No, said a new voice. It belonged to Talodren. He was a Tarii defector, former Council PsyOps, rescued 2 months prior during a botched extraction. His scales were blackened with memory tattoos, his eyes too old for someone only 40 standard cycles. If you start warning other species without a strategy, Talo continued, You'll trigger panic. Or worse, Council retaliation. Some planets won't believe you. Others will try to strike preemptively. That's what the Council wants. Chaos. They'll clean house under the guise of maintaining order. So what do you suggest? Alara asked. An accord. Quiet. Select worlds. The ones already skeptical of the Council's grip. Get them on our side before the rest of the galaxy catches fire. Rios folded his arms. You want a secret revolution? No. I want leverage. That means we need allies who can hit back. That night, the crew assembled around the hollow table, systems dark except for the slow spin of the shard, which now projected galactic maps laced with threat zones, surveillance nets, and military node. Talo highlighted 3 candidate worlds. Loren, their matriarchate has refused full Council integration for decades. They respect strength. Show them this data, and they'll consider siding with you. Next. Ithra Prime. Nomadic. Traders and information brokers. They've seen things. Smelled rot. Offer them protection, and they'll share what they know. And the third. Talo hesitated. Castor Axis. Alara frowned. That's not a world. No. It's a fleet. An armada of exiled commanders, deserters, and disavowed warlords. If they align with you, the Council will see it as a full-scale insurgency. They'll retaliate, Rios said. They already will. This just shifts the timeline. Alara stared at the flickering map. Then she nodded. We split up. Phantom Edge hits Loren. Rios, you and Kale take the Signal Fox to Ithra. Voss, you and Talo handle Castor. Rios raised an eyebrow. You sure about dividing our force? Better than arriving as a single, easy-to-target signal flare. We go ghost. Minimal emissions. Subspace hops only when necessary. 3 weeks. Then we reconvene at the Red Fold. You think the Council's not watching that system? They are, Alara said. That's why we'll meet beneath it. Loren was a jungle moon wrapped in storms. Massive fauna lumbered through fog-drenched valleys. Towers carved from obsidian trees pierced the sky like spears held high. Alara descended in full combat armor, flanked by 2 drones and an interpreter AI. She was greeted by High Warden Kainti, a towering female clad in woven flame hides. You bring war? Kainti asked. I bring truth. She showed the shard. Kainti narrowed her eyes. The Council sent us peace. Now you show us betrayal. Peace bought with silence is a lie. Kainti tilted her head. And what will you buy with your noise, Terran? Alara didn't flinch. Freedom. Meanwhile, over Ithra Prime, Rios negotiated in a floating bazaar made of fused freighters and converted ice haulers. Traders passed coded messages behind smiles. Rumors of Council weapons testing in fringe systems were already circulating. Rios offered them a new story, verified, irrefutable. The Ithrans accepted. But not before warning him. There are whispers, the broker rasped, his multiple jaws clicking in sync. The Council has loosed a new kind of enforcer. Not AI. Not flesh. Something worse. Voss met the Castor fleet on the edge of a dying star. Their flagship was made of fused wreckage, former Council destroyers bristling with modified cannons. Warlord Tehran met him in a scarred command chamber where ancient banners hung beside plasma rifles. You offer what, Terran? Tehran asked. An end to silence. Talo stepped forward. And vengeance. Tehran laughed. At last, a cause I understand. The accords were signed in blood, data, and shared fury. And the Council began to tremble. By the end of the 3rd week, the Phantom Edge returned to the Red Fold, cloaked, powered down, hidden inside the gravity well of a neutron fragment. All 3 teams made it back. Alara looked over the new data, the new allies, and felt, for the first time, like they weren't alone. But the shard wasn't done. Layer 4 opened. It contained coordinates. One of them pointed to Earth. The other? To a Council cache labeled simply, Genesis Protocol. Alara narrowed her eyes. We're not done yet. Rios leaned in. Genesis, that's not a death order. That's an origin file. Exactly, she said. And I want to know why Earth is listed under both. Because somewhere out there, buried in all their secrets, was the real reason humanity had never been meant to rise. The Phantom Edge coasted through the void like a shadow pretending to be a starship. They were heading for a system that officially didn't exist, blacked out on council maps, untraceable through normal navigation arrays. Only the shard's decrypted coordinates led them there. It pulsed with urgency, as if eager to reveal its last truth. Elara stood on the bridge, hands behind her back. Her gaze stayed locked on the view screen as a sunless system emerged from the black, swallowed in a massive nebula that shimmered like oil on water. "This place feels wrong," Rio said, voice low. "Like the universe coughed and forgot to spit this part out. No broadcast. No traffic. No trace of any living ecosystem," Voss confirmed. "But there's structure. Artificial." Naira brought up the sensor overlay. Multiple constructs in orbit. One matches a pre-Exodus Earth satellite design, but it's fused with alien tech. Like they've been experimenting. "Still think we're just a footnote in their galactic playbook?" Elara asked. Rios grunted. "Footnotes don't get laboratories like this. Bring us in slow, silent approach. Prepare recon drones." They deployed from the ship like silver birds into ink. The largest structure resembled a derelict moon, latticework of spires and internal rings pulsing with minimal power. In its center, a chamber shielded behind 6 electromagnetic locks, each encoded to a separate species' DNA. And one of them was human. Elara and Talo led the boarding team. Inside it was colder than space. Walls were alive with dormant code, layered in memory metal that shifted subtly with every footfall. The Genesis Vault, as the Shard had labeled it, wasn't just a place. It was a message. And a weapon. "What is this?" Elara whispered. Talo scanned one of the inner conduit. His eyes flicked across the readouts, face growing grim. "This is where they keep the failsafes," he said. "Every time a civilization deviates from council conditioning, becomes unpredictable, they log the genetic changes here. Behavioral trends, cultural anomalies. It's all mapped, dissected. And modified," Voss said, stepping in. He gestured to a row of suspended chambers, each housing what looked like hybrid embryos. They weren't just tracking evolution. They were guiding it, seeding it. Naira's voice came through comms. "Guys, you'll want to see this. The central archives unlocked. I'm patching it through to your HUDs now." Data cascaded across Elara's retinal display, video logs, transcripts, encoded memories. The truth landed like a hammer. Humanity wasn't a mistake. It was an experiment. Centuries ago, during the rise of the Council, a dissident faction, xenoarchivists and genetic philosophers, disagreed with the idea of stasis. They believed chaos was essential to progress, that civilizations needed unpredictability to avoid entropy. They created humanity as a control variable, unshaped by psionic constraints, emotionally volatile, driven by imagination and resistance. The Council condemned the project. The architects vanished. Earth was buried in silence. But the experiment continued, unmonitored, undisturbed, until humans began to reach out. Until they became too visible, too stubborn, too different. Elara stood motionless, fury bubbling beneath her calm exterior. "All this time," she murmured, "we were their test. And now that the results scare them, they want to erase the data." "Not just erase," Talo said. "Reset. Genesis Protocol doesn't just mean origins. It means overwrite. If they activate it, humanity becomes a memory." "Not if we stop them," Rio said. Elara nodded. "We upload the full Genesis archive. Send it to every corner of the galaxy. Make secrecy impossible. If we're going down, we take their lies with us." "And what about Earth?" Voss asked. "They'll retaliate. Hard. Then we give Earth a reason to fight." They returned to the Phantom Edge. The data was prepped, compressed, and loaded onto quantum relays. They piggybacked it across Ithran channels, cloaked it within merchant signals from Loren, and fired pulses through Castor's fractured network. The Council tried to block it. They failed. Within hours, the story of Earth, the experiment, was everywhere. 53 worlds began protest. 7 broke off Council ties. 3 declared open rebellion. But the Council wasn't idle. Their reply came fast. 2 dreadnoughts emerged from void space near Earth. No warning. No diplomacy. Just fire. One struck Mars' orbital. The other descended toward Earth's atmosphere. But Earth had changed. The broadcast had galvanized them. Civilian tech firms offered drones. Military assets went dark, and then reappeared fully armed. Defense satellites, once political deadweight, roared to life with AI upgrades leaked by Naira through old UTC backdoors. They weren't ready. But they weren't alone. Elara stood on the bridge, fists clenched. Bring us in range. No stealth. They know we're coming. Rios locked in firing coordinate. We'll be dust before we scratch their hulls. We're not scratching, Elara said. We're exposing. She activated the Shard's last protocol. The moment it triggered, every dreadnought broadcast its internal schematic. Crew manifest. War crimes logs. Leaked in real time to every system still linked to the Galnet. The dreadnoughts didn't retreat. But their crews hesitated. And then mutinied. Council loyalists were thrown from command deck. Automated subroutines were sabotaged. Weapon systems blinked offline. The threat became a symbol. The symbol became fuel. Humanity had always been the variable. Now they were the spark. Later, when the Council convened an emergency session, over half their seats were empty. Elara watched the feed from a deep space relay station. We didn't just survive, she said quietly. We changed the equation, Talo finished. Voss raised an eyebrow. And what about us? Elara turned from the screen. We keep moving. Keep building. The Council isn't dead. Not yet. But the galaxy knows now. Rios leaned back in his chair. And when they come for us again? We'll be ready, Elara said. And this time, we won't be alone. The Phantom Edge powered down its engines, cloaking itself once more. Above them, in the dark silence of space, stars began to flicker, not randomly but in code. Other worlds were responding. The tide was shifting. The story had been told. And the galaxy would never forget.